Hey guys, what's going on? It is Saul over at SUPP, bringing you another YouTube video. I hope you guys are doing all right and having a great week. I realize that this video may piss a few people off, but if it's one thing I've observed over the years is that in life you will never please everyone all the time. I have stopped trying, I don't even try. Well, sometimes pissing people off can start a constructive debate, but it's largely dependent on what you're pissing people off about. In this case, I think it's worth it, and if anything, I like to look at this video as the hard to swallow but ever so necessary medicine that needs to be taken. So, screw your spoons full of sugar, Mary Poppins. Let's go ahead and ruffle some feathers and make that stuff neat. Let's go. Okay, so, you see the title, come on. Meat eaters versus vegans, why you both suck. Now, this whole vegan versus meat eater argument has crossed my path a few times now. I've tried to ignore it, step around it, over it, under it, swerve it, bob and weave. I'm a firm believer in picking your battles in order to win the war, but I can no longer bring myself to just gloss over it like I would the horoscope section in my Sunday paper. Now, what's my beef, no pun intended, with the whole thing? Let's break it down. By the end of this, I hope you'll see the middle ground, or at least shut your traps for about 5 minutes and digest what was just said. Yeah, again, no pun intended. So for the vegans, look, I get it, okay? Our earth is important. Animals are important. The balancing of our ecosystem is paramount. Yes, you can get protein from other sources outside of meat and dairy, but you can't save the world by just eating vegetables and legumes. In fact, you may just do more harm than good. Now, for the meat eaters, I understand you too, bros and broettes. Like, meat is tasty, okay? Hunting is sacred. Protein is a necessary nutrient. Hunters are also doing their part by controlling animal population, but you can't keep poking fun at all those Holly Housewife kale smoothie recipes on Instagram, no matter how funny it may be to do. And you can't keep poking fun at the vegans, all right? Now for the middle ground, how do I put this lightly? You guys both suck. I mean, why? Why? You're probably asking why. Because things are all about perspective, but neither camp seems to be thinking objectively about this whole thing. Now, if you've bought any of my books, or my guides basically, that probably means you've gotten a bit of background story about me through my bio. Now, I do like to lead a pretty private life, but for this video, I'll pull back the curtain a bit more. So providing a little bit more about my past, as someone who grew up in the country, and I learned about hunting, fishing, farming, survival, and more, and then I went on and I applied that to my professional and personal life as an adult. Understanding the middle ground in all this is the most important part, okay? It's something about being way out there in the backwoods where you got to depend on yourself and those in your family. You learn the importance of really thinking objectively, okay? So let's discuss the vegan argument first. Now, from a farming point of view, veganism taxes the soil. You ask any farmer and they'll tell you you've got to let your soil rest every so many years. Different crops have to be rotated to balance the soil as well, as from a biology point of view, soil is a living thing. Not to mention a home for a lot of other living organisms, all right? It also takes a tremendous amount more land to feed people an all vegetable and legume, and I'm using air quotes here, diet, okay? From a business point of view, we live in a globalized world. One where not every bastard gives a rat's ass about in-season and farmers markets. Even I tend to be one of those bastards at times. If I want pineapple in winter, god damn it, I'm having pineapple in winter. Now, growing fruits and vegetables takes seeds. I'm not sure if you guys realize this, but certain large conglomerates, which names I will not disclose, have a monopoly on the seed business. So much so that I'm fairly confident their sentiments are of the variety where you pipe up too much and don't farm the way they want you to, they'll swoop you up and swift you off to some undisclosed location for re-education, before you can correct them on the correct way of saying that. Now keep screaming your prepubescent-esque voice for more veggies and fruits, and you're fueling that monopoly, whether you like to believe it or not. Because from what I see, a large percentage of self-proclaimed vegans are also city slickers who don't know the difference between a mattock and a hoe and a mattock hoe. Do a little research on farming. That's what I ask from you, okay? Actually do some farming. And no, not the window garden you've got set up that accommodates 3 carrots. And then really look at the situation, okay? Now from a business and farming point of view, corporations are already pushing around farmers enough, okay? And if you want to know what I mean by this, there was a really great article. It was written in the Washington Post. The link is in the description below. While some farmers may not care, others do. And time again, we'll attempt to explain that farming is science. and not to be taken lightly. Tax the earth too much and you'll end up getting a rude awakening from that same thing you're taking for granted. Now, if you read either of my nutrition books, you'll know that today's fruits and veggies are much less nutrient dense than they were some decades ago. And that part of that is because of the demand placed on Mother Nature to meet supply agricultural affairs place on our earth, taxing it anyway. You'll also remember the critical point I made about soy protein being peddled by the big companies in the fitness industry and why it's the worst thing to happen since praising use of the word savage as a compliment. So if you think that meat eaters are wreaking havoc and by preaching save the animals, we're all wildlife is the way forward in preserving this great green earth, yeah, you'd actually be f***ing sideways. Ironically, the same way your argument states meat eaters do. Good job. Now let's discuss the meat eater argument. Now, from a hunting point of view, eating meat is an honor. You gotta respect your kill and only hunt to feed. I am entirely against hunters who hunt exotic animals. Let me just make that clear. Or any animals for that part, for pure pleasure. Hunting is not a sport, okay? It is a survival skill that feeds and nourishes both yourself and your family. One deer can fill a freezer. Respect that. From an athletic point of view, protein is more than just a nutrient broken down into amino acids to fuel the muscles and other cells. Now, not all proteins are created equal either. The way your body absorbs consumed protein, how much of said protein can be utilized, and how much of said protein you have to eat in order to get adequate levels is the deciding factor when picking what sources to obtain your protein requirements from. Oh yeah, by the way guys, if you want to see the blog post version of this video, to be able to get a full picture of what I'm saying or just go over some points again, you can check it out over at the blog. The link is in the description below. Plant and legume-based proteins are not absorbed as easily by the body as meat, poultry, and fish. And before vegans start attacking the meat eaters with pitchforks, plant-based proteins don't always go down well for those with gastrointestinal diseases. Like, literally, they don't go down well. Which is why if you've bought and read either of my nutrition guides, you'll remember why I say whey protein nutrient profile is important. From a business point of view, again, we live in a globalized world. If the customer wants meat, companies will find a way to ensure that demand is met, even if that means quantity over quality. But quantity takes more farming, and quantity of exotic or game meats takes more hunting. And while it takes less land to feed people with meat, more of the former, that is to say farming, means more animal waste. More of the latter, that is to say game hunting, means encouragement of companies trying to quote unquote farm wild game. And we all know how crap farm raised salmon tastes. Now keep howling about how you want a new and improved quadruple patty burger or a cheaper, bigger steak, and you're fueling that show. Because again, from what I see, a large percentage of meat eaters are also city slickers who don't know the difference between grass-fed and grain-fed beef. And trust me, there is a difference. Do a little research on hunting and farming. That's what I asked from you. Better yet, actually do some of both. Okay, so for both the vegans and the meat eaters, all I'm asking is do a little bit of research, okay, in your own time. From a farming, hunting, and business point of view, corporations are already pushing around farmers and hunters enough. Again, hunting and farming animals isn't some dumb caveman's venture. It takes skill, time, and care. You've got to develop a knack for it. You force grow animals too much and you're gonna have some weird go down. Try and domesticate wild game and you're going to expose them to a whole new host of sicknesses. So focus more on using your brain and less on satisfying your medium to rare steak bloodlust. Now, let's discuss why both of you suck. Now, hopefully you threw your egos and strong viewpoints out the window for a second and saw consistency in both the vegan and meat eater discussions. While several people in each camp may be running around trying to prove why their argument is superior, I don't hear any motherfucker talking about overconsumption, and that's the real freaking problem, in my opinion. Going vegan won't save the planet or the animals if you don't learn to control your flabby lips and how much you shove down your trowel. Eating your favorite cuts of meat won't last very long if you consume with reckless abandon. Both have the same end result: supply attempting to meet demand for the sake of profit, no matter the sacrifice of quality. Now, from a nutrition point of view, you're both bastards. For the more enlightened, if you read either of my nutrition books from cover to cover, you'll understand this logic and objectivity with ease. Eating is about nutrition. Nutrition is about balance. Balance is about consuming what is required. While stuffing your face is a nice treat, that's all it's supposed to be. A treat, all right? Not an everyday breakfast, lunch, and dinner type thing. Pathetic excuses and terms like snackcidents and treat day turned into a treat week, oops, solidifies your existence as a selfish and gluttonous human being. Saving the planet isn't going to come from wearing a hemp shirt or getting all your meat through hunting alone. It starts with remembering the phrase, everything in moderation. It's not about any of this hippie bullshit of, we're wildlife too. The last time I checked, carnivorous animals like mountain lions and bobcats are wildlife as well. It does not mean they'll carry those same sentiments you have and stop themselves from eating your sorry ass if you both so happen to be in the same field and they're hungry. Take off the majestic creature goggles. Tons and tons of food, both plant-based and meat, gets wasted every year because of agricultural trade. Supply, demand, and waste after demand is obtained. When my parents used to tell me I had to eat all my food at dinner, it wasn't because they made it. It was a freaking lesson. A lesson that if my greedy eyeballs were greater than my tiny, fist-sized stomach, I was going to eat everything so I would feel physically horrible afterwards, with the aim of making sure I didn't unnecessarily ask for more than my body required next time around. I see every argument under the sun getting preached, except moderation. This isn't just pure speculation either. Many of times I've come across and befriended vegans and meat eaters, but the moderation part is still missing, which makes the whole interaction fall through. Hell, I remember even attempting to date a vegan, only to see them waste half their food at the restaurant. Vegans pitch, oh, mushroom enchiladas are healthier and you can eat more. Plus, if you love your pets, you should love other animals too. Well, I do, dear vegans. I love the tasty little fish and the cows and the chickens and the deer and the turkeys and the lambs. I love them down to every last bite. I also love the nutrients like protein, omegas, saturated fats, and more that they provide me with. And then you got meat eaters and they pitch, well, you've got to have a bit of meat with every meal to be full. Well, that's just not true either, my fellow brethren. And you know this from my Breakfast Bites 5 minutes to full blog post I wrote a while back. Eating is something that's a necessity for our bodies first, that we were given the gift of being able to also enjoy second. The same way we enjoy sex. We need it to reproduce first, but can enjoy it second. The pleasure aspect is a freaking gift. Few other animals on this planet get to enjoy these things, except for dolphins. On the sex part, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me. So when you're thinking about nutrition and its purpose, think objectively and realize it's not so much what you don't eat that's going to save this rock we're stuck on, but how much of it you're eating now, and adjust accordingly when you do. If you don't know where to start when it comes to making those adjustments, this is exactly one of the several reasons I wrote the SUPP series. I got sick of nutrition information being spun for pure profit. I started with writing for myself and my buddies in active duty, and all I wanted was a simple, stripped down, real deal, say it straight solution for keeping my strength up in my body in fighting fit condition, no matter where in the world I was. I wanted a guide that cut away all the bull and to just have something that gave me access to whatever nutrients I needed ASAP. That's what keeps me growing the SUPP series. That's what has me writing every week for you guys. It's not just for the men and women in active duty service. It's for the reserves, veterans, athletic civilians, and people in general who want to be constructively conscious about what they're tossing down their gut. So vegans, meat eaters, just freaking quit for a minute with the whole our camp versus yours argument. Use your brains and shelf your egos, and freaking know that the equation is bigger than just satisfying your own argument. Alright guys, so like I said, I know that this video may piss a few people off, but I want everyone to comment below and let me know your thoughts on this whole thing. You know, on being a meat eater, being a vegan, having a middle ground between the two. Let me know your thoughts, comment below, share it. It's up for discussion, you know. At the end of the day, it's just to start a constructive conversation. If you like this video, share it, subscribe, and comment below. If you really like this video, but you don't have the SUPP guides yet, go ahead and buy them over at the SUPP website. The link is in the description below and up on the screen. They cost less than the shirt on your back, but unlike that shirt, the knowledge gained lasts a lifetime. Now, if you've already bought the guides, hey, thanks, then go ahead and check out the other gear in my shop. From nutrition supplements to apparel, you can pick up some whey protein for your next workout, new threads for that sleeve-splitting arms day, or something else that'll help you remember that when it comes to fueling and training your body, once you learn how to, where you are matters less. Now, every item, the material, color, style, ingredients, and quality are all handpicked by me, so if I won't wear it, eat it, drink it, or read it, I will not sell it to you. It's that simple. If you go ahead and get the guides, you'll discover recipes with nutritional breakdown in each of the nutrition guides to make things nice and easy, and that's available under the snacks chapters, and previews of the chapters are available in the shop. With the workout guides, you'll get in-depth customizable workout plans with breakdowns of how to effectively and efficiently train your muscles no matter where you are. And all guides teach you how to eliminate worries or concerns about getting the nutrition and strength and conditioning you need to stay fighting fit for when you're deployed or at home. And that's it, guys. Drop by next time for another great video to add to your workout and nutrition arsenal. And most importantly, stop doing guesswork. Start making the necessities of your life easier. Because if you know how to fuel and train your body, where you are matters less. That's it from me. Have a great week, weekend, whichever. Peace.